A Louisville man accused of murdering a woman inside her Okolona apartment turned himself into police today. Rashawn Betts is accused of brutally assaulting and killing Amy Skeleton earlier this month. LMPD says on November 8th, Betts broke into her apartment armed with a gun. They say he hit one victim in the head and then grabbed two knives from the kitchen, went on to stab Skeleton multiple times. She died from those injuries. Police announced a warrant for Betts' arrest last Thursday. This morning, we're told he turned himself in. He will be in court tomorrow at 9, facing charges of murder, burglary, assault, and wanton endangerment.
The Metro Council member Anthony Piagentini is suing the Louisville Ethics Commission now after they found him guilty of several ethics violations earlier this month. The commission found Piagentini used his position of power to leverage a job, a six-figure position. Today, Piagentini laid out 3 accusations against the commission. First, he says they violated due process. Second, he accuses the council of arbitrarily exercising their authority. And lastly, he says their findings were not supported by evidence. According to the lawsuit, Piagentini believes the commission did not act impartially. We've contacted the Ethics Commission for a response to the allegations. So far, we have not had a response. Also right here at 5, Kentucky officials are actively searching for Kentucky's next juvenile justice commissioner, a big position in this state, the state's 6th since 2018. Vicki Reed is stepping away from her role after a tumultuous post-COVID tenure, which includes riots breaking out inside youth jails, at times injuring officers. Senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez and photojournalist Emma Gefter show us what's next.
A department vastly understaffed and grappling with increasingly violent incidents within youth jails. It's the reality of what Vicki Reed had to deal with even prior to her taking the position. And now any efforts at solutions will have to happen without her. WHAS11 News obtaining a copy of the resignation letter sent to Kentucky's governor almost a week ago, effective January 1st. Short and to the point, Commissioner Reed writes, quote, "I thank you for granting me the opportunity and for your support during my term," end quote. Reed talked to me one-on-one over Zoom back in January.
We're continually trying to, do whatever we can.
During Reed's tenure, the Department of Juvenile Justice has been able to secure pay raises, new security equipment for corrections officers, and launch an initiative to separate violent from nonviolent teens and boys from girls. But in that same period, a persistent shortage of staff and repeated attacks on law enforcement inside the center loomed large.
They've had plenty of time to step up and fix a lot of this. And I know that they've tried their best, but sometimes their best wasn't good enough.
Kentucky State Representative Kevin Bratcher of Louisville admits the issues don't all fall on Reed, as he says teenagers have grown more violent, but he believes something had to change. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS11 on your side.
Representative Bratcher also sponsored the bill, now law, to pour millions of state dollars into reopening Louisville's downtown youth detention center. And he told us today that he's now skeptical it'll open by summer of 2024, which was the timeline given. Bratcher believes it's likely going to take longer to get the infrastructure inside that building ready to house teenagers once again.
Now we have an update on a story our Focus team has been covering extensively. Today we learned people in Salem, Indiana finally have some clear tap water. The city completed a hydrant flush of the entire 90-mile system this weekend after weeks and weeks of brown water complaints. Focus reporter Travis Breeze shows us how much things have now improved.
These are some of the clearest tap water photos we have gotten out of Salem, Indiana. This is what I got when I asked people for how their water was looking on Monday. It seems the steps the city has committed to over the last week are making a difference, but a few people did bring up some new concerns. After a week of system-wide flushing, residents say their water is looking better. On Facebook, a few people chimed in to tell us the water got clearer and clearer since the flushing started on November 12th. One person did send this photo, though, saying their water was still brown on North High Street on Sunday. Others said while the water is clear, it smelled strongly of bleach or chlorine. That is something water officials warned would happen at a public works meeting 1 week ago.
I know people are a little concerned right now about the chlorine levels, but because we are doing the flush, we're running a little on the high side to make sure that everything stays satisfactory.
We asked the city for an updated statement Monday about chlorine levels, but have not heard back at this time. The last report from the city and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management is that the water is safe to drink and passing all chemical tests. Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.
The pipe that originally caused the brown water has been removed from the system. The mayor estimates that pipe was originally laid in 1947. We're still waiting for records on how old the rest of that system in Salem is.
Well, some local coffee workers say they're ready to go on strike. The baristas who work for Sunnerghost here in Louisville are upset over what they claim is the coffee chain's refusal to bargain in good faith. This comes after the workers voted to unionize in January at the beginning of this year. Sunnerghost is the second largest coffee chain in Louisville with 5 locations and over 63 employees. We contacted the management for a statement and we're still waiting to hear back.
The United Auto Workers Union has overwhelmingly ratified a new contract with Ford. Just over 69% of all workers across the country voted in favor of this deal. Voting wrapped up on Saturday with about a 15,000 vote margin in favor. But here in Louisville, it was a different story. A majority of the Metro workers were against this new agreement when they held their vote last Sunday. The new contract runs through April 2028 and includes a 25% wage increase over 4.5 years, as well as cost of living raises for workers. In response to the contract being ratified, Ford President and CEO Jim Farley released a statement. It reads in part, Ford believes in rewarding all of our people and growing the middle class in America. And we have shown that with our actions over so many years. Now we're getting back to work as one Ford team.
Well, he was both loved and despised by listeners on WHAS radio, but they followed him loyally as he provided the color analysis through the 1980s of Cardinal basketball alongside the famed Van Vance. Jock Sutherland died last night at the age of 95. Ironically, he was a Lexington native and a UK grad who spent most of his life as a UK fan and a Hall of Fame Kentucky high school basketball coach. But his outspoken commentary on Lexington radio about then coach Joby Hall got him fired. So he then joined WHAS Radio, where he spent 19 years calling Louisville men's basketball through the 80s alongside Van Vance. Van is now 89 years old, and he came back to the WHAS building today and talked about Sutherland's true legacy.
He had a lot of impact on basketball in the state of Kentucky. He won the Kentucky State Tournament at Lafayette. He helped Kentucky in 1978 when it won the NCAA. He was the guy who scouted the 2 teams, including Duke, they beat in the championship. Then in 1986, Kentucky won in 78, the NCAA. Then in 1986, he's sitting beside me doing color on U of L when they beat Duke, the only game Duke lost the entire year, and we had the championship of the NCAA.
Coming up tonight at 6, Van tells a funny story about Jock Sutherland. Rest in peace, Jock Sutherland.